This is Mitch with the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. We're going to be talking Deal Machine today, and we'll be talking about how driving for dollars can change your world and how Deal Machine has changed inside itself. It's always growing, always improving. And, you know, I'm here with Dave Lecko, and we met a long time ago, didn't we, Dave?
We did 3 years ago.
Met a long time ago, and then I did some podcasts with driving for dollars and featuring Deal Machine, and you know, it's pretty popular, and it works well, and a lot of people use it. I hear about it all the time from my students and from people, and so we're going to talk today about some of the changes. But maybe we need to start from the beginning, because I'm sure there's some people out there that are maybe they're just hearing about your program for the first time. So give us a recap of David Lecko and Deal Machine.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Well, that takes me back to 2016, and I'd read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and I was really interested in having a rental property because that was more predictable than the stock market. That's what I learned from playing the cash flow game, if you've ever played that. And it was really helpful for starting my journey. And so I went out and I looked for properties for sale, but none of them would meet my cash flow numbers. You know, things that were listed, they were priced too high based on what they could rent for, and it wouldn't make a good rental property. So I went to a real estate club here in town, and they talked about, you know, I need to go drive for dollars. And I did that, but I struggled so much with the follow-up process. You know, I had a list of 40 properties, but I hadn't, you know, written the mailers and sent them out. And so basically, I took a weekend and I made this really basic version of an app that would look up the property owner and send out mail. That way, no houses would get bought out from under me, you know, because I hadn't sent out my mail or hadn't, you know, got in contact with the owner.
You were acting as fast as you possibly could. So, like, if you didn't get the house, it wasn't your fault.
Yeah. So, basically, I started using that myself, and a few friends actually wanted to use it too. So the easiest way to get it on their phone was to put it on the App Store. And then people, you know, they started Googling. They were already, you know, searching for driving for dollars. And so then the Deal Machine app started coming up. So people started to download that, and it kind of took off into a whole business that I really didn't anticipate. I was just trying to make a tool for myself so that I could get my first rental property. And so that was about 3 years ago, like I said, and we met not too long after that, actually, in early 2017, I believe. You know, and we had a good time. You invited us to Cancun on your investor trips. So we got exposure to a lot more serious investors too, and realized this could be used to scale, not just for like a single person who's trying to get into real estate. But that was the start of my journey.
You know, a good friend of mine, God rest his soul, Ken D'Angelo, who started Homevestors, said to me once, an entrepreneur rarely ends up with the business that he originally set out to start, that it always ends up morphing and changing and evolving into the path of least resistance for the most money. And it's hardly ever the business that they start. And I find that true in my life. I find that, you know, you just said you didn't really plan to do this. Real estate, you wanted to go get some rent houses. You ended up with this program.
Right.
What I really loved about your program, which separated you from everybody that I knew at the time, and tell me if it's still that way, you could actually take a picture of the house, and that would be the postcard that's going to go out to the owner. So the owner would know that you'd seen his house because he's going to get a postcard with a picture of his house there. What I liked even better is if you took a selfie of yourself with their house in the background. Now they not only knew that you'd been to the house, but they kind of knew, I mean, that you were talking about their house and you were very specific, but that you had been to the house because you're standing in front of it at the time that the picture's taken.
That's right.
So I imagine myself on a Friday night, I come in, you know, from the bowling alley or wherever, and it's 11:30, and I'm sitting down, gonna have a snack or something, and there's all these postcards on the table. The one I'm looking at, the one I'm definitely gonna look at, is the one that has a picture of my house in it.
Yeah,
I mean, all those other postcards, I mean, I don't care if there's 100 of them. If I can see the one with my picture of my house on it, I'm picking that one up.
that's right.
So I thought that was a real great separator. You know, when I had postcards, everyone always puts one phone number on their postcards. I would always put two phone numbers. I'd put one directly to a live person like me because I wanted to buy the house. But I always put like a free recording, and I'd put like a Livecom number on there, because at a guy at 11 o'clock at night, he's not going to call you. He's not going to call your number at 11 o'clock at night, but he might call for a free recording.
Right.
To learn information. And then we're going to capture his phone number if he calls from his cell phone.
Right.
So extra little chance to connect with them. But I bought a lot of houses driving for dollars, hundreds of houses. Are you in the house business yourself? Or are you?
Yeah.
Right now?
Well, the whole reason I got into it was to get that, rental property, Mitch. So I definitely did that. And I'm closing on my 9th property this week, actually.
Good for you. But I know this took a lot of your time, because if anyone out there has ever tried to invent or create software or an app, it's a continual process for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And in the beginning, you have your glitches. I mean, I had the glitches with Livecom. I know you had your glitches with Deal Machine, because there's just no way that you couldn't have. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you just got to keep working through the support desk and until you get it all right. And it takes a long time. It's a huge effort.
Mm-hmm.
I guess one of the reasons I bring that up is the only reason you invented it was because it wasn't invented, right? And
right.
The only problem with mine was there were similar things on the market, but they wanted too much, and I couldn't afford to use it as often as I wanted to use it and pay that price. And so I just went and built it myself. That was a big eye opener, but
Right. But now others can use it too. And that's a lot of good.
And now I get a paycheck from people using Livecom, and I get to use it as much as I want. So, I guess kind of the same thing with you and Deal Machine. I mean, I don't imagine you have a subscription fee, do you, Dave?
I actually give myself a free subscription. That's right. It's a perk.
So tell us some success stories that you've heard out there.
Yeah. So there's a lot of success stories of people doing their first deal, but I wanted to highlight some of the ones where they've made a killing within a year or within 6 months. And so I'll talk about somebody right now who's kind of in between that, TJ Russo up in Seattle, which is a market that people frequently say, is this market too saturated? Is this, price point too high for me to go ahead and do real estate investing? And he's doing wholesaling in Seattle, and he actually made $125,000 on 4 different deals within his first 6 months of using Deal Machine.
So a total of 125,000 or 125,000 each?
125,000. Mm-hmm. And so, yeah. And so those were 4 deals. So average is, about $30,000-ish each. And, that's a high wholesale fee compared to what we would see here in Indianapolis, which is probably about $7,000.
So expensive there too. So, you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So the houses are more expensive. You can get the higher wholesaling fee, but also he actually did some more legwork to get those deals. Here you might need 200 distressed properties, but in Seattle, I think he had about 400, distressed properties added to his account that he was reaching out to in order to get each one of those deals.
Yeah. And, the idea of automating is a great idea, and it's a simple idea to think about. But when you really start to automate your business, it's not as easy as you think. You have to find the right people and the right processes, and they kind of have to mesh together. And you're constantly changing and morphing until you find the right balance of everything. You'll have a lot of tools. People ask me, how's the best way to find houses? first thing I got to ask is, well, what's your budget? Because when you're starting out with zero, you know, when you're walking around grabbing old political signs and flipping them over and writing on them because you don't have a damn penny to your name. I mean, there's a certain amount of things you can do, but as you get a budget, as you hit strike gold a couple of times, you know, and you get a house or two, you can start forming a budget, and then you can start taking some of the onus off yourself and systematizing the processes of finding and funding and selling houses. So when you first get your app, you know, if someone first signs up with you, what do they do from the very beginning? Give me some steps.
Absolutely. Well, you got to remember why you're doing this, and you know that's going to carry you through some of the work that needs to be done. You know, Deal Machine makes it easier, but it doesn't remove all the work necessary to get an extra $1,000, you know, a month into your kid's college fund. You know, so remember the reason why you're doing this, and then when you're actually using Deal Machine, you need to go out and look for properties that look physically run down. You're looking for the worst houses in whatever neighborhood you're in. So if you're in a pretty nice neighborhood, you want to add a house that's got like bushes that haven't been trimmed. But if you're in a C or D neighborhood, you need to be looking for the houses that don't have a wall or they've got a hole in the roof. So keep
broken or something. There's no front door.
Right. Keep it in context to whatever neighborhood you're in, and add those houses that look like they're the worst for whatever neighborhood you're looking in. And
you know, I found that I could hire a person for I don't know, about $120 for the day, and they could start out at 8. They could drive for 4 hours. They could take an hour for lunch, which I didn't pay them for, and then they could drive another 4 hours. So get in an 8-hour day, right?
mm-hmm.
In my hometown of San Antonio, and they could get about between 90 and 115 houses that I didn't know about, you know, vacant or abandoned or houses that need attention. They could add to my list about 100. So it was about $1 a house, more or less, right? And when I say 120, 130, I'm also giving them $20 for gas for the day, you know, that's included in that. And I have the whole thing automated. I would have people, you know, I would tell them what neighborhoods and what zip codes I wanted them to drive, and I would take pictures of. And it was a great way to track them, because I would, you know, I could know where they went, and I could see what they were doing, you know. And so I've used it. You can buy lists of vacant houses. I had people say, why would you do that when you just buy a list of vacant houses? I said, that list is not current, and everybody has that list. I need the one that just got moved out of yesterday. I mean,
right.
No, it's not. I need to get there first before everyone else. I need to know about it before the whole world, before it even gets on that list. You know,
mm-hmm.
I need to know that house. And that's how you do it, is by getting out in the streets. Amazing thing happens. I've been in my office doing whatever it is I'm trying to do from my office. And I found ways to stay in my office for weeks at a time. But I get out of my car one time to go check on a rehab, and I buy the house across the street. You make your money in the streets.
Mm-hmm.
Money in the street.
Mm-hmm.
Up to you. I didn't, you know, I was trying to buy houses, you know, all different kinds of directions. But it always amazes me that when I'm not even really focusing on the art of trying to buy a house, I get out in the street and someone walks across the street, or someone tells me something, and I'm buying a house all of a sudden, and I didn't even plan to do that day.
Oh yeah. I think a question along those lines that I often get is, what if somebody sees me taking a picture of their house?
Really?
They get very scared. Yeah. Well, people who have not done this before, they'll ask me like, well, what do I do if somebody sees me taking a picture of their house? And my response is like, tell them you're looking to buy a property and you really like that one. They're going to, you know, don't try to pretend like you're not taking a picture of their house. That's weird. You need to just tell them straight up, I'm looking to buy properties and I really like this one. And then they'll tell you things you didn't even ask for, you know, like, well, stay away from that house. And this house over here has roaches, you know, and like, they'll tell you about everything you didn't even ask for.
Yeah, that's funny you say that. It's also funny that the truth is always the best answer, right? Someone has,
Right.
just tell them the truth.
Right.
How the truth works. It's really good.
It is.
All right, so today is the very what are we? What's the date today? We're the 28th of April 2020. Because the reason why I'm saying this is because I'm going to ask you something that's subject to change. And these interviews are evergreen and they're out there for a long time. Someone may be listening to this recording, 8 months from now forward in the future. So, but right now, tell us how much Deal Machine is and what it costs, and list audience out there. Dave and his company has the right to change his price anytime he wants to, and it's going to change because it always does. Sometimes up, sometimes down. Sometimes they just add more value to the price. But anyways.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So the basic plan is actually $49 a month. You get a 2-week free trial. And we've got 2 other plans as well. There's a $99 a month plan, and then there's the enterprise plan is $3,000 a year, and that lets you have like 300 deal finders. That's for an established, operator that wants to scale this really far. Okay. So then we've got different mail pieces that range from pricing to 49 cents to $1.47. And the $1.47 is actually a ballpoint pen mail piece written by a robot. So it's going to look like handwriting, and it'll look authentic whenever it comes to the seller's house. So those are the price points right now. And then speaking of change, we're actually planning on coming out with a free CRM. So if you're looking to organize your deals, you'll be able to go in and start an account for free that would allow you to organize all those deals.
Okay. So I certainly suggest that you go over and try your 2-week free trial. Do you have a trial time?
Yeah, it's a 2-week free trial. That's right.
A 2-week free trial. And then also I read somewhere, are you giving away like $30 worth of free mail?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they get that whenever they sign up, actually through your webpage that we set up.
So I want you guys to go to REinvestorSummit.com/machine. And that's the same link we used last time that we interviewed Dave at Lecko. And so we're just going to make the new additions or subtractions or whatever. We're going to revamp the show notes. And that way it'll all be current by the time you're listening to this. And take advantage, $49 per month, get 2 weeks free. And then there's a $99 a month level.
Mm-hmm.
The real pros, there's a $3,000 one-time fee. And tell us about that. I'm kind of interested in that $3,000 one-time fee. Tell me about that.
Sure. Yeah. So it lets you have 300 deal finders. So people out there looking for properties for you. It actually has a sign-up page. Go ahead.
Talk about deal finders real quick, because even I was slow to figure out what you were talking about.
Oh.
Deal finders is when you have the app, you can assign people. Like I said, I told you I have people that drive for me by the day. You can get people like the mailman or the garbage man. You can talk to them and sign them up as a deal finder for you. And when they take pictures, it's on your account. The letter goes out from your account, and it earmarks which person was responsible for starting that mailer or that acquisition in motion with a single click of a camera. And you can give people, you can offer them bonuses, or you can pay them per picture, or you can pay them per success. Like, I'll pay you $500 every time one of those pictures turns into a deal. You figure out what you got to do. But he's saying the $3,000 will give you 300 of those. So if you have the mentality to figure out how to get 300 people interested in snapping pictures of houses for you, then that's a pretty good deal, because I don't see how you don't make up $3,000 in a year if you have 300
right.
people out there doing it. How are people getting 300 people to do this?
Yeah, we've got a sign-up page and a training portal for the drivers. So they'll actually post a job ad on Indeed, and the call to action at the end of the job ad will be, go to this page, sign up, add 20 properties, and I'll pay you $20 today via Venmo. And we provide that sign up page that lets people get inside your account without you intervening. And then you can also enable the training portal so those drivers can like watch a few videos that explain how and where you want them to drive. And so I was running into the issue where I would set up a bunch of interviews, 1 out of 5 people would show up, and then that 5th person would actually just fizzle out or move to Florida or something random, So I was like wasting all this time recruiting and training. So we've actually built the technology to do a lot of that heavy lifting and let them jump through some of those hoops so that by the time they get there and they add a few properties, they're already familiar with you, the technology, and they've proven they're serious because they've added a few properties, and you pay them right away. So that gets them excited. And then you can sit down for a more formal conversation and interview them. So I built the tool like that. So I would not have to be wasting my time, sorting through those resumes.
I always like the mailman. He's driving through the neighborhood anyways. He knows when people moved out. He knows when the bill collectors are after him because he sees the mail.
Right.
He needs to see the mail. I've always liked the mailman and the garbage man. I've always liked the garbage man too. So because it doesn't cost them anything to drive the town. So when you send them a check, it's 100% profit because they were on a rig that was paid for by the company, anything like that. I also thought in the summertime in Texas, the ice cream man, the one that drives all the neighborhoods selling the ice cream.
Oh, yeah.
In the background. All right. Well, there's a reason why I've bought a house every 4 to 5 days for over 2 decades. And that's because I have my fingers in every way to do it. I'm quite interested. Now, I may not be doing it all because my first idea right now is I have 2 apprentices, acquisition guys. I have 2 apprentices. I have 2 solid acquisition guys, and then we got 2 apprentices and put it under them. I want to call those apprentices and say, look, for $50 a month, you can add to your chances of finding a house. And this is what you do. Go watch the training video over there at Deal Machine and go get some deal finders to put under you and start getting some leads on some houses that you're not necessarily out there having to work for yourself. You know what I mean? Get
Right.
it set up and then the leads will come in. And that's how you go from doing 10 or 15 houses to doing a lot of houses is by getting other people to do a lot of other things. This would be one of them. What do you, when do you suggest people get started, Dave?
Right now. There's no time like right now, Mitch.
Somehow I knew the answer to that. All right, go to REInvestorSummit.com/machine and get your free $30 worth of mail. You get free $30 worth of mail outs. There's mail outs that range from 49 cents to $1.47 a piece. What's cool about this thing is they just have to take the picture, pick the wording, hit the button, and that piece is going out in the mail right from the front seat of your truck. How many times have you written down an address of a house that you wanted to send a mailer to, and it sat in your car or in the console of your car for a long time and it didn't get done? This solves all that problem. That was the main reason I got it at first when you first started out. Of course, you didn't have all the features either. I just wanted to be able to take a picture and hit send. And I didn't have to worry about going to the office and licking a stamp and putting an address on an envelope or doing anything. I just had to hit that button. I just hit that button. It was done. And if I saw 7 houses that day or that morning in a particular neighborhood, all 7 of them were done. And it was off my plate. So I think it's a really great deal. I'm really proud of you and glad that you did it. And I hope that you're having a huge success with it because it's a great idea.
Thank you. We're having a great time making it better. Like you said, it's a process, right? With Livecom, you've been working on it for a few years as well. And you definitely, you make bugs when you make new features. And so it kind of feels like you're taking 2 steps backwards before you could take another step forward. But it's really rewarding when it comes together. People have the success stories and it solves a problem for yourself and others. So congrats to you too. Yeah.
Advice on both Deal Machine and Livecom. He's been doing it now for 4 years. Livecom's been 5 years. they're much different products than the day that you first announced, and they've gone through their contortion. So please, if you've tried them before and you know, whatever your experience was, try it again, because it's not the same anymore. It's improved, and you know, as long as we keep applying ourselves all the time, things get better. They stabilize, they ratchet up, and you finally get it to where you want. It takes a little work sometimes, but if you've tried it, and try it again. And if you haven't tried it, definitely try it now, because we're a long way down the road from where we first started. All right, my friends, reinvestorsummit.com/machine, and check it out. You get 2 weeks free, and you'll get $30 worth of free mail when you sign up. Man, anything else you want to say to those first-time real estate investors that are out there?
I would say, you know, don't just look for just the vacants. Don't just look for the absentee owner. Just remember to look for the distressed properties. Anything that's distressed is something that you want to add. And there's a whole lot of them out there. You're going to find a lot of properties. You got to just dedicate some time in your schedule to make it happen.
Look, just imagine drive down the street, look at those houses, and then find one you say, I imagine the person that owns that house is having a problem, or would like to get rid of it. I can feel it by looking at the house. They can't be happy about owning this house right now.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one you take the picture of and send, right? You're looking for the pain. Look for pain. All right, my friends.
Thanks, Mitch.
Hey, Dave. Thanks for being on, man.
Yeah.
This is Mitch Stephen with the Real Estate Investor Summit podcast. Please check out our sponsor, taxfreefuture.com. If you don't have a tax-deferred or tax-free retirement account where you can grow your funds with postponing or basically tax-free, then you don't have any idea the size of the tool you're missing in your tool belt. It's a huge, huge advantage to be able to grow your retirement or your finances tax-free. So go to taxfreefuture.com. Watch the 37 video vignettes there. All you got to do is give us a little micro information, first and last name, email, phone number. I promise you, we will not beat you up with a ton of emails or sales calls, but we will reward you with 37 video vignettes that let you know exactly how powerful and exactly what you can do. It'll blow your mind. It blew my mind when I saw it 20 years ago, what you could do with these retirement plans. The biggest thing that blows your mind is how do you take a little bit of money and make it into a whole lot of money in a retirement plan? That will blow your mind. Taxfreefuture.com. Thank you very much. See you later, Dave.
See you, Mitch.